Welcome back. I'm Multeyemeteor. This is the third introduction to the Seasons of Llawyhn set that I've put together. I'm not going to introduce it too much in this video because I've already talked about it a lot. I will say that all the cards are something I've made. All the card art is something that I've borrowed from or you know, quote unquote stolen, taken, without the intention of exploiting it though, from artists online. So that should answer those questions immediately. Go watch the other two videos I've made for more explanation on that. Yeah, this video will be about the Sienn nation and the Sienn people. The Sienn people used to be a part of the Llawyhn High Council, which I've talked about in the previous videos. They are, in terms of game mechanics, they are primarily white and black with a bit of red on them. They are hunters. They are very, very introverted monks. They are very, very skilled trap crafters. They are skilled hunters, and those are two of the things that I associate with them in terms of abilities and game mechanics. But I'll talk about that a little bit. They descend from something. This clavo is the only clavo where we know that they descend from a certain empire of past times, but which we don't really have any history or any clear history about what happened to this empire. We just know that it's kind of split into two, and well, it kind of disappeared, but the descendants kind of split into two, and they don't have much knowledge about their ancestors and their ways. Their ancestors are called the Sievv, and the Sievv were like the greatest empire on the continent of Llawyhn in past time, and they lived kind of they lived together with Banes, which are, as I've talked about in previous videos, are these kind of, is the word for monsters or yeah, you know, dragons, giants, all that stuff, like beasts and so on. And they had not a symbiotic, but they had a very close relationship and a very utilitarian relationship with Banes, and used them in their society. Furthermore, they were very erudite. They were very learned. They knew a lot of things about the arcane arts and so on and so forth. Very culturally dense populace. But suddenly they disappeared, at least from the history books. And in this set, it's not really. At present point, there's not a lot of knowledge out there to speak of what happened to them. But their ancestors have kind of split into two. They've split into the Sienn, and they split into the Sievv. And the Sienn are kind of like their more introvert counterpart, the ones who kind of try to they had a position at the Llawyhn High Council, but they ceded it or pulled away from it because they didn't like the genocidal mission of try to kill off all the Banes in the world. They wanted to instead of try to understand their ancestry, they wanted to turn their focus inwards. But because they've been kind of put into exile from their pulling out of the High Council, they live underground or as nomadic tribes and so on. And a lot of the time they use traps, and they use their excellent hunting skill to ward off any attackers or pursuers and so on. And also they have some pretty amazing labyrinthine or maze systems, especially underground. So a lot of their cities are built underneath mountains in these kind of huge structures, which are almost MC Escher-ish in their in their layouts, so as to kind of throw off any kind of invaders or intruders. Yeah, so that is kind of who the Sienn are. They are still not comfortable with their situation in the world. They try to gain a footing. They descend from a people who used to be the greatest empire in that on that continent, and now they're detached from that history because they don't really know what happened. They only have suspicions. And then there's the Sievv, which are they are outlawed. First of all, they are, well, if the Sienn was on the High Council, then the Sievv would kind of be their protectorate. They are mostly like warriors and especially shamanistic. They are shamans. And they deal with fumes and salts and sands and smokes and so on, and manipulate that stuff. And they try to experiment their way into arcane knowledge, the knowledge that they feel are forgotten from their ancestors, the knowledge about ritualistic magic and so on. So you'll see a lot of that stuff working for them in the game mechanics that they utilize, and they are kind of like the twin sibling, the darker twin sibling of the Sienn, and their colors are black and red, not white at all. So yeah. Then furthermore, the Sienn has another kind of protectorate, in a sense, quote unquote, called the Sulk, which are kind of like they look like seals with massive bodies. This like heads. They have the head of a seal, and that's kind of my own design. I really liked it for some reason. I don't know how I came up with it, but kind of like it. And they tend to be monks and warrior monks and stuff like that. And they're considered Bane by the Vegevo, and that's why they kind of they've allied themselves with the Sienn, because they also escape into monasteries that they create inside of mountains or in caves and so on, and they use these caves kind of to escape from the outside world. And the Sienn and them have kind of like a helpful relationship where the Sulk will help shelter Sienn from intruders and attackers, and the Sienn will help the Sulk out with trading and getting them food and so on. All right, so these are like the three clavo that I will be talking about in this set. And or that I've talked about in this set, and we'll talk a little bit more about. And this is kind of like the main people of Sienn, the nation of Sienn. Let's talk a little bit about the game mechanics here. The Sienn has, as I've kind of indicated, they have two mechanics. One is not really a mechanic, but they have a lot of abilities that work towards that. For example, and that is traps. In the traditional sense, in where you had these instant spells, which were traps, and they had like a condition: if something is going on or if something is happening, you may play it for its trap cost. And the Sienn also have creatures and spells and so on that kind of lets them draw traps or replace traps or something like that. And one example of that is the where do we have them? We have the here we go. Limestone Labyrinth Tender is a 1-cost, 1 white, 1/1. That is a Sienn Druid. Whenever you play a trap, you may search your library for a trap card and put that card into your hand, shuffle your library. And that's kind of the engine of this deck. You also have a lot of other things, but you also have a lot of traps. Let's take a look at a few of them. One is, for example, Lost Forever, which kind of it's supposed to be flavorful towards the fact that Sienn are very, very adept at finding their way through these mazes that they create and like caves and caverns and so on, but to the point where it's very, very difficult to follow them. So the flavor text says, never follow a Sienn into one of their holes. And just very simply, no need to speak to, no need to put in too much detailing into it. It's just what it is. Lost Forever is an instant trap spell where you destroy target attacking creature. It can't be regenerated. If all creatures you control are tapped, you may pay 0 instead of Lost Forever's casting cost. So it gives you, as a Sienn player, it gives you like some defense that is very valuable. And when your opponent kind of get a sense of what the Sienn is about, they know that perhaps they should be very, very, very careful about launching attacks. And that's also something that I've been working with in this set, is that I want the different. I'm not a very aggro player myself, but I want you to be able to play very, very aggro-like. But I also want the people who are not, or the people who aren't very aggro, or the people who like to play decks with different themes to them, and which takes more time building and so on. I want them to have the tools to defend themselves very efficiently, and that's with spells like this or with certain lands and so on. There's also, let's see, there's also a few Sievv traps. One is the one called Fume Form, which is a Sievv spell or a Sievv trap rather than a Sienn trap. And what it does is basically it for 3 mana you can sacrifice target attacking creature you control, and all creatures get -*, where star is it's supposed to be -X. Okay, that won't be fixed till the video is out, I can tell you that much. But it's supposed to be -X, where X is the sacrificed creature's toughness. If targeted creature is blocked by a creature your opponent controls, you may pay 1 black rather than pay Fume Form's mana cost. So it's also a way of kind of putting a lot of flavor into the card, because the Sievv deals with these fumes, this fume magic, these smokes. They have different schools like smokes, sands, fumes, and salts. And mists also. Some of them I really haven't made the cards for yet, but others I have. And especially the fumes is something that is central, like a central school of the Sievv shamanistic magic. All right. Furthermore, you have other cards. Or you have another ability of the Sienn, and it's called Hunt, which is something new I wanted to try, and that makes a creature very powerful. Hopefully not too OP, but one creature is the Vigilant Sleuth Tenter, which is a 3-cost 2/3, and it has Hunt. And whenever Vigilant Sleuth Tenter is declared as a blocker, you may remove it from combat tapped, have it deal damage equal to its power to the blocked creature. This creature loses all activated abilities until end of turn. So kind of like the flavor of this ability is that these creatures are meeting in combat, but Vigilant Sleuth Tenter has a huge advantage. And that is because it's a hunter, so it's skilled in listening out or kind of detecting any opposition coming its way. So when you have an opponent attacking you, their creatures making their way to your side, Vigilant Sleuth Tenter has probably already tracked you with its polar bears and its keen senses and so on, and it's going to block you from doing damage to the player, or block that creature from doing damage to the player, deal damage itself, then it becomes tapped because it's occupied. And this creature will now be ensnared or something which prevents it from using its activated abilities until end of turn. So that's kind of like it's a way of dealing with the whole idea that creatures who are blocked or taken care of can still interact or act. So that's what Hunt is basically. It's a way that also that that portrays the Sienn as very defensive and good at keeping their opponents at bay, in a sense, before they themselves attacked. So yeah, that's pretty much that. There's also a bunch of Sievv stuff that I could show you, but I'm not going to show you in this video because it's running a little long. Anyways, I hope you liked it. Please let me know what you think about it. Yeah, I'm open to suggestions. I'm open to feedback and so on. I've tried to show you a selection of the cards that pertain to the Sienn or Sienno nation, all the different kinds of people living there. But yeah, there's more to come, of course. Anyways, in the next video, I'll be taking a look at the fourth and the last of the main clavos, called the Llawyhn, which is quite different from the other. So, yeah, stay tuned. Anyways, hope you enjoyed. I'm multeyemeteor. Later!